Herkese merhabalar. Biraz son dakika oldu. Sesimi duyabiliyor musunuz? Ben bir YouTube'dan bakıyor olacağım. Sesimi duyabiliyorsanız chat'e bir yazarsanız sevinirim. Son dakika oldu. Sesimi duyabiliyor musunuz? Biraz daha bekleyelim. Şu an 2 kişi görünüyor. Şöyle ben ekrana tam ekran yapayım. Bir iki dakika daha bekleyelim. Katılım biraz daha artınca başlıyor oluruz. Sanırım son dakika notification gidiyor. Evet, 5 geçe başlıyor oluruz. Tamamdır. 5 geçe başlıyor. Hello everyone. This is Ali from Huawei Cloud. Welcome to our actually first live DTSE Tech Talk. Today, actually, let me introduce what is DTSE Tech Talk, and after that, I will continue with our first meetup. Actually, DTSE Tech Talk is a intense Tech Talk series, which will be lasting for some point of time based on your interest of both in public cloud technologies and also on the Huawei cloud technologies in particular. And also in the cloud area, we will be discussing about in this webinar and also in the following webinar, mostly about cloud native. As Huawei Cloud, we are very much keen on cloud native. So this Tech Talk series will be mostly on this one. But first thing first, let me introduce myself. This is Ali Celiksu from Huawei Cloud. I'm working as a cloud solutions architect in Huawei Cloud, actually for more than 1 year. But my Huawei journey is longer than that. I'm working in Huawei for 12 years. Previously, I was in the telecom domain in various countries for supporting telecom operators. In past 3 years, I'm mostly in the cloud business, both in the SaaS business and also PaaS and other business. In lastly, actually, we are working on the our public cloud business for last 1 year. So actually, in this Tech Talk series, what we will be talking about, firstly, irrespective of Huawei Cloud, we will talk Huawei cloud computing basics. What is cloud computing, the attributes of cloud computing, and what is the actually public cloud is bringing new values on the innovation side. How it makes the innovation easier. We will be talking about this. And as I previously mentioned, we will talk about the cloud native concept. This is very important. You will be hearing about this many times as public cloud, all the public cloud providers, all hyperscalers are keen on this technology, actually, these, let's say, it's kind of mindset, cloud native. And actually, cloud is not free to practice while you are using services. You need to pay, but I will provide you some tips how you can practice Huawei Cloud for free without paying any money. And in the end, if you have any questions, I will try to answer those, and we can have an even open discussion based on the question comes. So let's start with the Huawei Cloud firstly. That are actual data centers. Huawei Cloud, Huawei is a Chinese company, so our data centers, our regions are mostly in the China and also in the Asia Pacific side, like the Singapore and also Thailand, etc. And newly, actually, our business is expanding to the world, like you are seeing on the map, on the Latin America and also South Africa. And in Europe, the business is expanding. Currently, the important news is our Europe business is also expanding. We have opened a new data center in a new region, actually, in Istanbul, TR Istanbul region, and also in Ireland, there's another region. And these regions are expanding day by day to reach more customers and users all around the world. So beside this, we have also some CDN nodes all around the world, over 2,800 CDN nodes, and also 70 availability zones all around the world. As public cloud, all the services can be accessible irrespective of your geographic location. Once you have an Huawei Cloud ID to log into Huawei Cloud, you can use the services. Doesn't matter where you are. When you have an internet access, you can just log into Huawei Cloud Console and you can just start to use services. So let's look at the Huawei Cloud Services portfolio. Huawei Cloud is providing all layers of services in public cloud, from traditional public cloud services to modernized cloud native services, and also on the analytics part. Also, there are some service portfolio. So on the screen, you are seeing our traditional service portfolio: computing service, network service, and storage service. These are the most common services. And on the other side, we have the container services, which is, we can call it the more modernized and more cloud native services. You can use and experience on Huawei Cloud. On the other side, there are also, which I can highlight here, the database as a service products and services, which can be used on the both open source databases like PostgreSQL, MySQL. It can be used. And on the other hand, there are some, let's say, that more value-added services are also provided on the enterprise intelligence side, like the AI and also big data side. There are countless of actually services, like over 240, and these number of services are expanding more and more. As this is a developer event, actually I will be more talking about in our previous slides, developer-related services, like the container services and also the serverless technologies I will mention. But before that, let's start with the beginners, that what is cloud, actually what is cloud and how it is evolved to this day. On the screen, you are seeing three typical architecture. The first one is maybe from now on, it's 50 or 40 years ago, the IT architecture. In the conventional IT architecture, which is 50 or 60 years ago, When you have an application, you are seeing on the left-hand side, the application must be running on one server. So you can imagine the cost, how the cost is high. By the time you have an innovation idea or you have an application to be rolled out, to be launched, you need to have a dedicated server for that application. So that dedicated server must be in your company or in your enterprise. So before that, you need to order this server. It needs to be shipped to your company. You can think about the process, how it is long and how it is the cost. Even you are not maybe using this server, you need to pay for the shipment and also for the hardware fee itself. And after that, IT architecture is continuously evolving. We have reached the virtualized architecture era. On this part, a revolution happened. So what is that revolution? Actually is virtualization. What virtualization is that? For a single host, for a single dedicated machine or bare metal, let's say, machine, a virtualization happened to use more than one application can be running on a single host or a single machine. So this reduced the cost dramatically, and which helped the IT innovation, and we start to see more and more application in the market because of the cost is reduced. You know, most of our engineer or we are having the engineering mindset. All our aim is to optimization with a unit cost, how much more value we can create. So this is also the idea behind this. So the cloud actually not much different than virtualization, but it has some value added and it has some more scale on it. So for the cloud part, actually the virtualization is the base. So we are talking about for the public cloud, the supercomputers, which having the more capacity, and based on this one, you can scale to the actually we are saying on the cloud area, sky is the limit. By the time the traffic is spiking, you have the more customers, you have more traffic, you can have more virtual VMs or the other cloud services scalable, which is the benefit that cloud architecture is bringing. Of course, this is not the only part of cloud is bringing to life, and also other services, which is hard to get in our on-premise architecture. So this is actually how we come to the cloud era on the hardware side, on the architecture side. So let's have some boring theoretical knowledge on the cloud computing side. For cloud computing, actually, to say one cloud system is a public cloud, there are four major actually condition to be satisfied. The first one is on-demand network access, which means that whenever you want, you can access to your services. Previously, in the beginning of my presentation, I have mentioned that once you have an ID of Huawei Cloud ID, it doesn't matter other hyperscalers or public cloud providers, you have the ID. Doesn't matter where you are. Once you have the internet access, you can use those services. And the other part of important part of the and the satisfying part of the public cloud is the shared pool. It means that you are using cloud services together with other customer. So let me give an example that from the previous page. Once you are using a service on a shared host, you are using this service actually together with another customer, but a virtual isolation is here. So this is also another important aspect and the condition of public cloud to have a shared pool. And the other important condition of public cloud or the attribute of public cloud, it can be rapidly provisioned. So you don't need to wait your order to be completed. So this you can also compare with the traditional hosting services, how we were getting one virtual machine in the hosting providers, you need to create an order firstly, then some engineering team need to provision that configuration for you in the backend. But in the public cloud side, it is much different than that. It is rapidly provisioned self-service. So you just click on the screen, so your services will be able to use on the Huawei Cloud Console or other public cloud providers. And the other one is the minimal management. So cloud is all about service. Once you are having the service, it is minimal management actually. So you don't need to manage most of the part. Let's say that you get a virtual machine, all the hardware part, all cooling or the all hardware security part is maintained by the public cloud provider. You don't need to think about the electricity bill. You don't need to think about the site security, etc., or the air conditioning inside. Much of the thing you don't need to worry. You just need to get the service and focus on your application development and also innovation. By telling cloud, actually, public cloud is not only terminology or is not only type of cloud. There are other types of clouds which is widely used in the industry. Public cloud, the one I have mentioned, the attributes like the rapidly provision, on-demand access, etc., etc. Those are the attributes of public cloud. But there is another type of cloud which is private cloud. On the private cloud, the difference from the public cloud is that the hardware ownership is belong to the user, belong to the customer. So you are having the cloud experience like on-demand access, etc. But the hardware ownership is belong to you. You can consider that, of course, this kind of cloud is more expensive because you are still having the hardware shipment, etc. that bill you need to pay. And another kind of cloud deployment is also popular on the industry is that hybrid cloud. You are using some of the services from the public cloud, but some private cloud services you are using. This is usually used on the mostly regulated industries like the energy industry or like the banking industry or some of the security concerned customer. As I said, cloud is a mindset, so it takes time to get ready and get familiarized about this technology. Some of the customer may choose to transition to public cloud step by step by using the private cloud first and experiencing the hybrid cloud environment and eventually evolving the public cloud. So this is the also kind of different deployment model in the industry based on needs. I'm sure that if you are interested or get any kind of cloud training, this drawing actually you might seen already. I will explain this part with a metaphor of actually taxi hiring. So think about that you are having a car, right? This is actually corresponding to this part. Once you have car, firstly, as an equipment, you need to have the car, right? This is corresponding to this car. You need to fuel the car. You need to purchase the car, and then you need to have the ability to drive the car, and also you need to have the navigation, right, where you will go. All the things you need to care about. You need to care about also the maintenance, etc. This is actually the traditional ID. Let's take several slides before. In the traditional ID, right, you have the hardware and you need to take care about everything by yourself. This is actually corresponding to this part. And let's say that on the other side, you are calling a taxi. Okay. By the time you call a taxi, that you don't need to care about the hardware side, but you still need to, this is taxi part is this one. This is the car leasing. You have rented a car. By the time you rented a car, you have the equipment already. But by the time you rented the car, you also, most of the time, you also need to fuel the car, and also you need to still have the ability to drive the car, and also you need to know the navigation where you are going. This is, more easier than having a car, but still you need to care about some part of the process. And by the time you are calling a taxi, that you don't need to care about, you don't need to have the driving ability, you don't need to care about the actually the oil inside, the fuel inside, but you still need to find a car, right? You need to stand on the street, etc., and you need to find a car, and you need to tell the navigation actually where you are going to the driver. And on the SaaS part, you can consider this one is the more modernized part, like you are calling a Uber or that kind of services to hire a car. On this part, you don't need to actually even care about finding a taxi on the street. You can just call from the application. You are 100% outsourcing the process to the application. So actually in the also cloud services part is like this. There are some cloud services that you need to still take care about some part, and there are some cloud services that you don't need to care about anything. You are just using the application. On the cloud area, it is actually similar to this metaphor. And for cloud terminology, I want to mention about some important keywords. That one is region. Actually, in the traditional IT, we don't much hear about region. It is come with the public cloud terminology. On the region side, what is region is actually, we will be hearing about this one many times. Region corresponds to the geographic location, where the hardware is set up and where the service is provided. We can give example about the Europe region actually. Let's say that Ireland is a region for us and for public cloud terminology, and Istanbul, for example. So by the time we are telling about region, you need to remember about the geographic location where the cloud services are provided. This is called it as region. And another terminology is the availability zone. Inside the region, we have some data centers, actually, physical data centers. It can be one or at least one, actually, or it can be more than one, like 2, 3, it can be even 5 or more. These data centers are called as availability zone. So in the traditional IT part, what we are calling is, it is the data center. In the cloud terminology, we are calling the availability zone. These terminologies are irrespective of Huawei Cloud. It doesn't matter you are using Huawei Cloud or other hyperscalers. This terminology is common, like the region and availability zone are the common terminologies. Now, let me introduce some of the services which is hardly to get in the on-premise environments. The first of all is the auto-scaling service. As I mentioned that in the changes of traffic, sometimes you need to increase your capacity, increase the hardware capacity. On the screen, you are seeing some of the actually two examples. You see that by the time you have the 30 visits, you can, to easily understand, imagine about the e-commerce scenario. You have the, for example, 30 customers, 30 visits. You have one server is enough, but you promote a campaign like the winter campaigns or the like 11/11 campaigns for the e-commerce. At that time the traffic spiked really high. You have more customers, so by the time you have the more visits, the number of virtual machines, or in our Huawei Cloud terminology, is increases. So this is done by the auto scaling part, and which is not very easy to achieve in the on-premise or private cloud side. It is for the public cloud side, it is more cost effective because you are just paying those resources by the time your traffic is reached to peak. But after your traffic is returned to normal, you will be paying as normal. So this is actually reducing a lot of cost for the customers, and it is accelerating the innovation. By the time both on the marketing side, also technology side, you can have more creative scenarios to attract more customers based on demand. At the same time, you are saving cost enormously. This is on the virtual machine side. So the number of VMs are increasing, or the VM specifications are changing by the traffic. And on the other side, the bandwidth, internet bandwidth also in a same manner can increase or decrease. So in cloud terminology, we are calling as the scale up and down. So the bandwidth can increase or decrease. So the number of virtual machines can increase or decrease. So this is provided by the auto scaling feature based on the preset metrics which is acquired by the system. Maybe you will get some keynotes from this webinar. Is that one of them can be the auto scaling, which is the revolutionary service to reduce cost on the customer side. On the other side is this is Huawei Cloud Container Service, which is also one of the subject which I mentioned earlier, is on the cloud native side. The Huawei Cloud is providing a managed Kubernetes cluster, which you can deploy your application workloads on Huawei Cloud just in several clicks. So let's compare this one to traditional IT. On traditional IT or on-premise, let's say, environment, what you need to do is you need to allocate some virtual machines on the master nodes. You need to deploy your master nodes, and you need to manage their performance, and also their maintenance is based on your team's ability and your O&M actually team's ability. But if you are getting this one, which is Kubernetes service from the Huawei Cloud or other public cloud providers, you just need to care about your application workload. You just deploy your workload, and this will free your time from managing the Kubernetes cluster, etc. By this time, all the other services, this will enable time for your development time, which you don't need to manage most of the part, which is really beneficial. And this part is, now we are going from more traditional cloud services to more cloud native services. Firstly, what we have mentioned, the virtual machine, which is actually kind of monolithic architecture. And for the container part, it is like the microservice architecture, and which the application development is evolving is the serverless part. On the serverless part, unlike the virtual machines, also container part, you don't need to care about most of the thing, except your code. Here, it is our function graph service, which is the serverless architecture. Here, you don't need to even care about workloads and the server. You just submit your code, and it will be running, and you just pay the time which your code is running. So, which is becoming more cost effective, and also it is giving you more time to develop your application instead of worrying about the infrastructure and maintaining the infrastructure. I can say on this part. In the following sessions, we can have more details and hands-ons about these parts. Just I'm giving you a little glimpse of these services. And another part is these terminologies are becoming very popular, DevSecOps and DevOps processes. One of our services is DevCloud, which is, of course, very much related to developers. Here, entire development pipeline you can manage with this service, from the project management, from the your code deployment, and also from the testing to deployment to O&M. All the application cycle you can manage in one screen. which is provided by the Dev Cloud. We can say that all actually the development will be moving to also cloud. Not only application, also the development processes are moving to cloud. So this part is providing that part on the DevSecOps products, which you can have also other details. So now I want to introduce you as our next subject is how you can practice Huawei Cloud for free in general. So we are providing numerous materials which are all free that in our education portal. By the time you go this portal, let's click on together. In this portal, based on your background, you will have several learning paths which you can go through and learn by yourself as self-learning. Here we have the beginner courses. You can follow those courses to get the general idea, which the fundamental idea, which everyone needs to know. It doesn't matter that you are a business professional or a technical professional. These beginning courses are providing you the fundamental, actually, knowledge. This is mostly as design developer activity, not related to us. And there's a technical professional part. You can have the deep dive knowledge on the Huawei Cloud services and also technologies by following these technical professional courses. This you can have a look. And also, we are providing the career certifications. By the time you are having a certain level of knowledge, you can enroll to Huawei Cloud certifications to get certificates and have an acceleration in your career, actually. Those certifications are provided in three layers, like you can consider the starting, medium, and the like the expert level certification. By the time you get those certificates, you can have actually an career acceleration on the cloud business, as this will be proving your cloud knowledge in the industry, which is highly recommended. And another part, and I think the most important part, is the how you can hands-on practice. Okay, we have the videos and all around the internet. You can find also other providers' videos and also technical materials, many papers, presentations. But as developers and also technical persons, we like to get our hands dirty. And this is actually provided for free on Huawei Cloud by our CoolLabs, by our CoolLabs environment. In here, by enrolling CoolLabs, you can practice Huawei Cloud for free, which is actually very much beneficial. Cloud, by the time you open a cloud account, you need to pay actually. But for the practice purposes, many scenarios, you can perform for free. This is will help you to learn Huawei Cloud faster. And also, as I mentioned, cloud is a foundation. This will help you to gain the cloud perspective, actually. This will help you. So before that, I will show you from the beginning. I didn't want to show in the beginning because of I want you to follow the presentation. There's a QR code here. You can save this QR code. You can open this QR code and follow the steps to practice Huawei Cloud for free. So what is in this QR code? Let me show you. This is actually the link tree. Huawei Cloud. By the time, even you can go to this website if you are not, if it is more easier to doing from mobile to web page. By the time you go to this website, linktree.ee/Huawei Cloud, we have prepared a path for you. So first one is the registering Huawei Cloud, which is completely for free. By the time you click on this register Huawei Cloud, you will have an account from this register. You just click this register. You choose your country. This is very important, which country you are. You need to choose this one. And you just for free register your account. For our developer friends, an important tip, don't add your credit card in the first place. By the time you come to this step, just skip it. It is an optional step to experience for free. So the second step will be joining our developer forum. In this forum, we are frequently sharing our knowledge and experience to you related to several Huawei cloud technologies and also best practices. By the time you open this page, there will be an agreement that you need to agree and join the Huawei Cloud Forum. This step you can complete. And as I said, the most important part, how we can practice Huawei Cloud for free by ourselves. This is actually here, which is our Labs environment. In the following 10 or 15 minutes, I will show how these Labs environment help us to learn Huawei Cloud, or in general, the cloud technologies and services easier. So after you register your Huawei Cloud account, you will be logging on this page. Let me log in to this page together with you. If you have a Huawei Cloud account, or you can even create now to follow together with me. So after you log in, let me go to Linktree. There will be a practice page. Here, there are over 30 examples which you can practice for free, like from the very basic services to more cloud native services and more expertise services like big data and AI. Even you can find this. For today's, which example I have picked for you as an introduction is the actually monitoring services. You can also make this one as take home and practice by yourself for the monitoring services. Let me find. Every day there are more and more practices are added. So let me just find the monitoring one. I'm in the last page. Okay, like O&M services. Okay, like monitoring services. These example, I will show you how you can practice for free. So by the time you come to any practice, there will be a page for you to start your exercise. Okay, like here, when you click on start exercise, sorry, it's Murphy. Sorry, let me try another one. Yeah. Doesn't matter which example it is. Probably I have performed the other one previously many times, so system didn't allow me. So let me introduce the environment, how you can practice the Lab exercises for free again. Here, by the time you open this page, the system is providing us a sandbox environment, which is firstly, it shows us a topology here, which services are using. We will be using in this service one load balancer and the auto scaling service to scale up the our workload. Here, there's a topology. And actually, the important part is there is an interface here, which we can actually log into Huawei Cloud and use the services. So in this part, the system is providing us a remote machine to use the services. You just open this Chrome browser, and system is opening us actually as a Huawei Cloud screen. Here I'm clicking on the IAM user, and that IAM user actually is provided here. Just I need to do is copy the username from here, IAM user, and just paste it here. And my username is also here, and the other one is the password. The password is actually random, so it is not a private one. So you copy this one, but make sure that you copy correctly. Sometimes if it is not copied correctly, it will ban your account. So make sure that you copy the code correctly. So after you log in, you will be able to use the Huawei Cloud services from here. So this is our Huawei Cloud Console, which you can use that 240 services based on the guide provided here. On the left-hand side of the screen, the system is providing us an guide, step-by-step guide. First, you can read this part, what we are aiming to do, etc. I'm skipping that part. And step by step, you just follow. So this is actually, it doesn't matter what proficiency level you have on the cloud. It will enable you to do the practices and help you to learn, actually. So let's follow together. And if you have opened your accounts, you can also do together with me. It doesn't matter which example you open, you follow yours. I have opened auto-scaling one. First, it's asking us to choose the region. So first thing first, the Coolabs environment actually currently available in Singapore, but don't worry, as we say that it's on demand. Wherever you are, you can also access the Singapore services. Don't choose the other region because this Coolabs environment is only provided in there. You may be able to create some resources in other region, but as the system will check whether you have done the correct step, it will delete almost immediately your resources. So just stick to the guide on the left-hand side. So what I'm doing here, that firstly, it asks me to search the auto-scaling service. So what I'm doing is coming here and writing the service name, auto-scaling, as is shown in the guide. So I click here. On the next part, it's asked me to create, you can also enlarge here to see in detail. It's asked me to create an auto-scaling configuration. So just I'm following, and by the time I'm learning, and you will be learning, right? So create the auto-scaling configuration, and here, and another tip that which you will be easier to learn, I suggest you to use a large screen. As you know, I'm using my laptop currently. It may look like a little bit sequenced, but if you are using a large screen, you can have the better experience and better actual learning experience. So I'm following here. Just I will not do all because our time is limited, but I'm showing the way how you can do. So this will be the service 01. It asks me to give the name. And another one, it says me that choose the create new. I'm choosing the same. The other part is ask me to use, for example, here ask Hong Kong. It can be also in some. Let's continue with, as in the top says Singapore. So this is important. I need to strictly follow the configurations are given to me. This is very important. It's asked me to choose this specification. So this specification, actually, we can write here. There's a search box. I'm writing here. You can even copy S6 small .1. So I'm searching it. So this is here, the first one. And it's asked me another flavor. I'm also writing the other one, which is the medium 2. So I'm also searching that one. So I'm adding this one too. So there are 2 configurations added. So I'm continuing to the other parameters. Mostly the ones which I need to pay attention are shown as the bold, So sequence is already chosen. So it's give the explanation, but the flavor selection policy is here. I choose the correct one. And the next one, it asks me to use, okay, it's again show this one. And the other one is this part. Okay, this one, the public image part, it asked me to choose CentOS 8.0. So I'm choosing that one. here from the public images. Let me make it more visible. So I'm choosing here the CentOS and also version 8.0. Let's go down, and here it another configuration. I'm just following what it written here to make the scenario happen. So it asked me to create a system disk like 40 gigabyte and high IO type and choose the security group like this. So it takes actually to complete this one based on your proficiency around 1.5 hours. You can practice like this. So the way is easy. You can have plenty of scenarios by your own to practice among these parts. Okay, so another thing which I need to mention, actually, no. So let me just open this one again, the ones who missed. You can scan this QR code, or you can go to this website, linktree, linktree.ee/Huawei Cloud. So you can practice Huawei Cloud for free by following these steps. Actually, we are on time, so I want to now it's your turn. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Now I'm back to my YouTube screen from my mobile to see your questions. Is there any questions? Let me check that it's on, should be on the live chat, I think. Okay. Okay, is there any question you can ask me? I'm following from this screen. Okay. Okay, I can at least see the messages now. There are some messages. If you have a question, please feel free to ask. I will be here for some more minutes. Okay, it means that everything is clear so far. No questions are raised. Okay, thank you too for joining. Thank you. Okay, thank you then. I assume no questions. So see you in the next next DTD session, in our fourth DTD session. You can always reach me in any channel to ask your questions. I will be happy to answer all of them. Have a good evening. Thank you.